Hey foodies, thanks for watching. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really high protein bar. These are great for camping trips and really just eating a meal on the fly when you've got no time to eat. You can eat this and you can know that you're going to get the calorie count and the protein and sustenance that you need to get you to the next meal. So we're going to start by melting our butter on the stove. And while that's melting, I'm going to mix my gluten-free quick oats and my protein powder. Today I'm using a dairy protein powder. It's a whey protein isolate. And chocolate chips. That helps to bind everything together when the chips melt. These two things I'm going to leave until the butter is melted. And then the water is at the very end. And there's a little trick to this. The water needs to be nice and hot. And the reason you want it hot is so that it actually helps melt everything down. And I don't put it in until the very, very end. So I'm going to hop over to the stove and see how things are going. Look at that, my butter is all melted. It's ready for my sugar, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I'm going to put my brown sugar in, give that a little stir, and I'm going to get my maple syrup in. There we go. I'm going to give it a stir just to make sure it's all blended and there aren't any lumps of sugar. Okay, I'm going to let that sit until it starts to boil. So I'm going to turn it up a little tiny bit, up to about medium heat. And while that's heating, I'm just going to put this on and stir it on low. Okay, so next I'm going to take an 8x8 pan, and I've already got some parchment paper that I've cut the edges and I'm lining the sides. You don't have to worry about buttering the parchment paper. It's not going to stick to the parchment paper. And that's going to take this once it's all mixed in. And you can see my mixture has come to a boil. That's great. I'm going to count to 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that goes off. So now I'm going to put my mixer on low, and I'm going to pour this right in. It's important that the mixer is on while you're mixing this in, or you're going to get a big sloppy mess otherwise. Scrape my pot because I don't want to lose any of this goodness. Let's go this way. There we go. And then I'm going to put my hot water in. And I slowly bring the mixer up, just one notch at a time, just to let it blend and mix. And you can see it slowly changing as it's mixing. The chocolate starting to melt. The protein starting to dissolve and get absorbed into the butter. I'm going to go one more notch. It's looking good. At this point, I'm always like, oh, did I add enough liquid? I gotta have faith. I gotta know that it works, because I've made this dozens of times. One more notch. Look at that. It's coming together. That's exactly what I want. There we go. Oh my goodness, this looks great. So you just want to mix it until it's really well combined and it gets that little bit of a glossy finish to it. If you find it doesn't have that finish after like 60 seconds or so, or 60 to 90 seconds, add just like a teaspoon of hot water at a time and give it a couple more seconds and see how it does. You shouldn't have to add much. You can see it almost looks like a liquefied butter, essentially. Okay, so now we just plop this into our pan ever so delicately. I'm going to press it down with my spatula. And then I've got a little bit of waxed paper. You can use plastic wrap if you want. I just find wax paper is a little bit more environmentally friendly. And you're going to press it down. You might have a little bit of moisture or water seep to the top, and that's normal. So you want to make sure it's pressed down nice and evenly throughout. And I'm going to leave the wax paper on the top. Oh, it looks really good so far. This is going to go in my fridge until it's cooled, and then we're going to cut them up. See you in a moment. So the protein bars are pretty much set up. I like the feel of them. They're firm, but they're not hard. They've been in the fridge for between 45 minutes and an hour. And you can see, I mean, I pulled them out and they've firmed up, which is nicely done. Oh, look at that. That looks really nice. It almost looks like a bit of a Toblerone bar with oatmeal, which is kind of fun. So I get about 16 bars out of this 8x8 pan. So I want to cut them about 2 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters across. There we go. There we go. And then I want to cut it in half. And I'm just going to eyeball it, and I'm going to say it's around there. And that is going to give us about 15 grams of protein per serving. And it smells so good. And I just want to dig into it. So these, before I bite into it, these can be stored in the fridge in an airtight container, and they're going to last for 2 weeks. You can leave them in an airtight container on your counter, no problem, but you're going to have to consume them a bit sooner. And if they sit in your fridge, that's fine, and then you can go camping. They don't have to be refrigerated when you go camping or if you're in the car. It's just to slow down them going bad on you, and oh, I can't wait. Chewy. It's like every granola bar I've ever had as a kid, but a grown-up version of it. It's so good and tasty. What I like about these, or this recipe, is now that we've got the base down, we can add things to it. If you want to add chopped nuts, or if you want to add roasted seeds, things like that, go for it. It's just going to make it your own. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Love to hear comments. Have a great day. See you soon.